everyone, and welcome to your daily slice of lovely, lovely wrestling news with me and Andrew. How you doing, Andrew?
I'm doing good, thank you, Sam. How are you?
Yeah, I'm all right. Yeah.
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 Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Headlines. Undertaker criticises soft WWE product, a major heel turn on AEW Dynamite, and is a retired WWE star training for a return. Find out in a bit. Okay, so we kick things off this week with the fact that Undertaker appeared on the Joe Rogan Experience podcast, Andrew. What do you think of that?
Well, I mean, sometimes I quite like it because he does get good interviews out of people. You see, he's good, that Joe Rogan, you know. He's good, that fellow bald man. He's good at pulling bits out of people, like little tidbits and stuff.
Yeah, I agree. He's a fantastic interviewer when it comes to podcast-based stuff. So the thought of Undertaker being there is very tantalizing. And has it produced the goods? So it's mental. You really wouldn't expect it. After being asked if he still watches the WWE and can enjoy it as a fan, Undertaker said, "I try. It's tough right now for me because the product has changed so much and it's kind of soft, you know?" And then Rogan said, "Are you going to get in trouble for saying that?" And Taker said, "Probably. I'll probably pee a lot of people off, but they need to hear it. It is what it is." But to the young guys who are like, "Oh, he's a bitter old guy," I'm not bitter. I did my time. I'm good. I walked away when I wanted to walk away. I just think the product's a little soft. There's guys here and there that have an edge to them, but there's too much pretty and not enough substance, I think, right now. Which is huge. That's huge. Undertaker, possibly the biggest modern era company guy, you know, outside of Cena, sort of the guy before Cena who was the big company guy, the leader of the locker room. The fact he'd openly, you know, address the current product in a nature such as that is fantastic. What do you think of it?
I think I've got another bit of a quote here as well, which I'm just going to say because I have a few conflicting thoughts on this. So Undertaker goes on to say, he says, "In that era of guys too, that those were men." And I'm guessing he's addressing like his era that he was a part of. You go into a dressing room nowadays, and it's a lot different. I remember walking into my first real dressing room, and all I saw was some crusty, effing, flipping men. Ooh, half of them had guns and knives in their bags. Plops got handled back then. Now you walk in, there's guys playing video games in naughty words, making sure they look pretty. It's evolution, I guess. I don't know what it is, but I just like those eras, man. I liked when men were men. And hearing that bit, I was like...
Yeah.
It's first of all, I think it's good that, like you were saying, the company man, Undertaker himself, is speaking out against the product.
Yeah, openly spoken against it.
But part of me also feels like maybe he's directing it towards the wrestlers rather than perhaps the writers, and that's where it's at. Because, like, I feel like these wrestlers, they're probably at the peak physical condition that they've more so than maybe when like Undertaker's era and stuff like that. So to kind of like judge them for being in the locker room playing video games and chilling out and stuff feels a bit bad, where I feel like it should be more directed at the people sort of writing this stuff for those. But what do you reckon? What do you think?
I agree with you on that second extract there. It's sort of it's natural progression, and yes, the good old days of wolfing down somas and carrying knives and guns and, you know, boys. But is it not infinitely better that we've got people that care about their mental and physical safety? They just want to play video games and hang out. You know, I kind of think Taker might be living in the past on that one.
Yeah, and that's another thing as well. Like he says like it's evolution, I guess. So he kind of acknowledges it, but at the same time, sort of like a lot of people, maybe like, you know, our parents' generation, people like that. They kind of always say, you know, I get it, but, and then sort of like.
The only other thing that I'm sort of thinking here, though, with it is with Taker being that sort of company guy, and with him being, you know, on a pedestal for the company for so long, with him being the one to come out and say it, like, sentiment must be strong.
It's got to something. If big old Vinnie Mac hears that, do you think something's going to change? So?
Oh, he's going to be a little bit annoyed. I think
he's going to be crying. He's going to be crying.
Next up, last night on AEW Dynamite, we had a heel turn, Andrew. Any guesses?
I'm gonna say big old Tony Khan. Bet it was big old Tony Khan.
Unfortunately, Andrew, you were not successful this time. It was actually Private Party. They've embraced Matt Hardy's teachings, and it seems as though they might be big old bad guys now. So during their match with Matt Sydal and Top Flight, Isaiah Cassidy used a steel chair. Post-match, Hardy and Party then beat their opponents down, and it looked pretty definitive, like slinging the leg over the rope and standing tall, fans like chanting stuff at them. There were flickers of this on Impact the night before. Some people saying they maybe should have waited till after this Impact tag title match, because now it's going to be heel versus heel, but also maybe Good Brothers will be more of an anti-hero stable going into it, maybe, I don't know.
Maybe.
But the idea of Private Party being heel is tantalising, is it not?
Oh, without a doubt, and with Matt Hardy there as well.
Yeah.
Like that sort of that's the stamp for me. That's the really good point about this, is because Hardy, incredible heel in like Impact and stuff. Like, I think he'll really help lift Private Party and push them in the right direction of a heel turn. But as you were saying, it's a bit of a weird one, sort of heel versus heel for the Impact Tag Championship. So I guess we'll see what'll happen there. But I'm down for it. I'm very much down for this.
Hopefully, just fingers crossed, they get the time and they're allowed to go on a tear. Next up, another one for you to guess, Andrew. An injured WWE star may be returning to the ring soon. Any guesses? You at home, comment underneath. You're going to find out in a second. What does it matter?
There's too many. Adam Pearce, he's coming back. He's back. He's not his knee.
No. Unfortunately, we're not going to get the match of the century. Chad Gable actually appeared on The Bump, and this is where this all comes from. And he hinted that his former tag partner, Jason Jordan, might be trying to make a bit of a return to the ring, which is something that's been rumoured for quite some time. He said, it's unfortunate what happened to him with his injury, but you never say never. He's working on it, he's trying to get back, and who knows? A reunion is always something that I would never be against. Jordan hasn't wrestled since suffering a neck injury in 2018, and he's currently working backstage as a producer. What do you think of the prospect of American Alpha either getting back together or having a feud, or, oh my God, this could be great?
Yes, please. Like, I mean, so good. And I mean, they've had amazing matches. They're an amazing tag team together. Like in NXT against the Revival and stuff. Like, that was amazing. And just the idea of them coming back together. They've proved themselves as well as single stars. Let's forget about Shorty G and things like that. Never mind about that. Even though he did prove himself during that bit as well. But like, come back together, go on, and then bring Daddy Kurt in. Let's get Daddy Kurt back in.
Just have him in managing. I as long as it's safe, that's the only prerequisite for me. Obviously, you know, Jason Jordan, it's a serious injury. If he's 110% cleared, and even then, sort of like Daniel Bryan, initially anyway, Bryan is a madman again now, but please nothing near the head and neck. Just, you know, work nice and safe, and just, you know, hopefully, fingers crossed, he can be cleared, but I guess we'll find out. Next up, we had a top SmackDown star backstage at NXT last night, and it was, can you guess, Andrew? Third time's the charm?
Come on, I got this one. Oh, it was Adam Pearce again.
Nah, it was Bayley, Andrew. The answer we were looking for was Bayley. But she was recently joking with Beth Phoenix that they should tag up in the Women's Dusty Rhodes Tag Team Classic, but it might not have been much of a joke because Beth Phoenix was tweeting her, and then she just replied to her with a shot of her backstage at NXT. Now, whether Bayley's there to spectate, or she's there, you know, just to hang around, or she's there to see people, or she's there to do something in like an official capacity, that remains to be seen, I guess. You know, potentially she could be doing all sorts backstage, but we don't know. But I don't know, it's huge. I like when stars return to NXT. I like when main roster stars get involved around the NXT circle. And, you know, I think it might be interesting one year if we did. Because while, you know, it's exciting, we've got the Dusty Rhodes women's tag team division full of new talent, as it should be. I think one year maybe in a few years' time, just throwing some veterans in there might be quite nice.
That'd be cool. I'd be down for that. Mix it up a little bit and stuff. And it'd be nice for the veterans to kind of put over the newer talent.
This is it. Potential star-making performances, isn't it?
Yeah, exactly. Because, even though there's an incredible women's division on NXT, and they're putting them together for this classic and stuff. I don't think the women's tag division is quite set yet.
This is going to bolster it massively. Yeah.
So if we can get stuff like that, if we can get Bayley in there, if we can get Beth in there, that would be incredible. Put them over. Put some new people over. Come on, Trips, you can do it, lad.
Please. Next up, Fightful Select are reporting that James Storm, who returned and wrestled on this week's Impact, is not actually under contract with the company. Storm made a surprise appearance on Impact Wrestling this week to team with Chris Sabin, but much like some other names that have popped up lately, Fightful have confirmed that he doesn't have a contract with Impact Wrestling. He was also at the October set of tapings, but not at the November tapings that led up to Hard to Kill. He worked two matches at those October filmings, but we've learned that he's not done on Impact TV as of yet. As he participated in filming 3 matches for the show, he was brought in to work with AEW's Private Party, who appeared on the show. Now, James Storm has been somebody who, there's been so much speculation. I mean, he's been to NXT momentarily.
Yeah.
And there's been so much speculation and a lot of people wanting him to move over into the WWE side of the industry, but I don't know. I think he still has a lot to give in terms of his name with that Impact audience as well. It carries a lot of weight, and with the looming AEW Impact stuff happening, it could be massive.
Yeah, like you were saying, who wouldn't like to see Beer Money back together, right? Who wouldn't like to see Beer Money back together? But at the same time, he seems to be having so much fun on Impact. His when he was on doing cutting his little thing with Chris Sabin and the Good Brothers, he was just having fun, and you can tell he's just having fun as well. And if that's what he wants to do, he was doing good things on NWA as well last year and stuff. Just let him do what he wants to do, because he seems to be having a really good time doing it. So I'm down for whatever he decides to do. And he's really good when he teams up with Chris Sabin as well. So go on, lad, batter him.
So speaking of the Women's Dusty Rhodes Classic that we mentioned a couple of points ago when we were talking about Bayley, WWE have announced the 3 signings to NXT, and they are all going to be involved in said tournament. So first up we have Cora Jade, formerly known as Elena Black from Chicago. She was active since 2018, frequently competed in GCW and freelance wrestling among many others, and popped up on 2 episodes of AEW Dark last year, once against Red Velvet and another teaming with Layla Hirsch to face Brandy Rhodes and Red Velvet. Next we've got Zoe Stark, formerly known as Lacey Ryan from Utah. Debuted in 2013, frequently part of the Championship Wrestling from Hollywood roster, competed in a handful of matches for Impact Wrestling over the past few years, and finally, possibly the one that most people will know about, Gigi Dolan, formerly known as Priscilla Kelly from Georgia, competing since 2015, lost to Deonna Purrazzo in the first round of the 2018 Mae Young Classic, and created an infamous moment in 2019 where she forced a female sanitary product down the throat of her opponent. Yes, but these 3 are all going to be involved with the Women's Dusty Road Classic, which is, of course, going to bolster NXT's women's tag division and lead to hopefully bigger and better things for everybody involved. Next up, a title match has been announced for next week's NXT, and Kurt Stallion is finally getting his shot at the NXT Cruiserweight title. What do you make of this, Andrew?
Oh, I'm excited. That lad, he's been working hard, hasn't he? He's been working hard, and I think this is going to be a good match as well. This is a good match.
How could it not be?
It's going to be fantastic.
So WWE has announced that NXT Cruiserweight champion Santos Escobar will defend his title against Stallion on NXT next Wednesday. Stallion has been in line for a Cruiserweight title shot since winning a number 1 contenders fatal 5-way match on 205 Live in November. And this is what else has been announced for next week's NXT, and it's a bit of a biggie. So we've got a non-title match, NXT champion Finn Balor and Kyle O'Reilly versus NXT tag champions Oney Lorcan and Danny Burch. We've got an NXT Cruiserweight Championship match that we've just talked about. We've got the Men's Dusty Classic quarterfinal, MSK versus Drake Maverick and Killian Dane. And the Men's Dusty Classic quarterfinal 2, the Grizzled Young Veterans versus Kushida and Leon Ruff. So it's shaping up to be a hell of a week for NXT. And finally, we have the reason why WWE announced 3 locations for WrestleMania, all at once. It's sort of out of character for them to do so. Usually it's here's this and a lot of teasing and where we're going to be. But Stephanie McMahon appearing on the wrap said it just helps everybody. It helps us for planning purposes. It helps our fans plan their trips. It helps so many different it helps in so many different capacities. And now we can really work with all of our partners across the board in all of these major cities and really blow everything out as big as we possibly can. Also, during this time, I think people need hope, and I think you need something to look forward to. And couldn't have said it better myself. Stephanie McMahon. All of those reasons are completely perfect. I don't know why WrestleMania shouldn't be like, the Olympics or the World Cup where we know where it's going to be next. It makes so much more sense than waiting till, they announce it. It's like, we're going to Dallas.
I completely agree. It is really nice, and it is nice to have something to look forward to after so much plops and uncertainty. But hopefully things are going to get better very, very soon, and we can all look forward to WrestleMania.
I can't wait to get back to a wrestling show. I really can't. It's going to be an alien experience by that point, but it's going to be hopefully amazing. And that has been it for what's probably quite a long video looking at the recording time over there on my monitor, so sorry everybody. But we may be back later in the day with more news, but all the usual stuff will be coming out. So it's goodbye from me.
And it's goodbye from me.
From Andrew, that's right. So we'll catch you in a bit. See you soon. Stay safe.